Next, we want to get Stephen Leonard up here. While Stephen's walking up, I'll give you a bit of an intro. Steve's a very active property manager in this market, also a really big landlord. He owns about 100 rental units himself. He manages about 300. He manages a bunch of mine as well. So he's really active and on the pulse. He does flip into other things, but like I know him as a landlord and property manager. So welcome, Stephen. Thanks for coming out again.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. So tell me, on the rental side, that's really where you're at mostly, right? So what have been your main lessons for 23?
23, I think the biggest thing as far as my personal portfolio has been learning how to pivot a little bit. Um, as far as, what the rental rate would be, you might have went in thinking you're going to get 1300, you may only get 1150. Um, bearing that in mind that insurances are high, taxes, they've gone up, and I hold a lot more weight against the insurance, and hopefully that'll eventually start to change. That's coming up for 24, but that's been the big thing for me is learning how to pivot and then holding back more reserves. At this point, it's if you're spending everything you're making, you're definitely going to have a hard time this year, or this past year, or going into 24.
Yep, yep. And are you what are you thinking about next year? Like how's that looking? What's your focus? Because you've been acquiring. I know you used to acquire a lot because you used to buy a lot of things. You still will though. You still be tempted. But like how active have you been this year in your own acquisitions?
I'd say we definitely slowed down because we got a lot more choosier or pickier for the properties we were looking at. You and I had a conversation that I'm not really looking anymore, and then you said, "Hey, I got some deal coming up," and okay, yeah, I'll take that too.
I love property people always.
It doesn't always work, but it does work quite a few times. But that's just one of those things. It's for me, my desirable areas have shrunk. My criterias have enlarged. Meaning, back in the day, you could determine what you wanted simply by getting me an address, and I look at the pictures. I could tell you, yeah, this is something I really want. Let me do my quick walkthrough, and I'm done. But now I've got to sit down with my insurance agent, get my numbers, tightened up, and then we've got to run the numbers to see not only what's active, but what's been renting, if it's going to be a buy and hold, which typically my stuff is a buy and hold. I think in this past year, we've only done maybe 4 to 6 flips, which is lower than I've done in the past, but it didn't work out for us that we would do that many, and in some cases we bought it as a flip and then decided to keep it as a buy and hold at the end of the day. And part of that is having to pivot to maybe it wasn't by choice, like some would prefer it to be, but at the end of the day it's still making money, so knock on wood it stays that way.
Yep. And what's the rental market been like in general? You've found it because it was really hot. I know before that. Like how have you found that?
I feel, in my opinion, I've noticed the rental rates they've ticked down just a bit. Days on markets have increased. So something that you could put on the market, instead of it being gone in 30 days, now you're talking maybe 45 and 60 days. As long as you've got an expectation of reality that this is what the market's going to bear. I mean, there are times when people say, I want $1,600 for a rental, and we have to tell them, as the bad guy, as the management company, well, it's only worth $1,450. They don't like to hear that. No, I want $1,600, and then they want to get upset why it sits on the market for 60 and 90 days. Let's go back to where it started. We said 14, you said 16. I'm giving you what you want, but I can't give you everything. So knowing and being realistic at the end of the day is where it is. But for 24 with me, and I guess the office in general, and my portfolio diversity, it's we're getting out of the market, not 100%. Again, you'll always be able to twist my arm a little bit, but at the end of the day, we are actively searching in the Mississippi and more the Moss Point, Alabama area, Mobile. It's we find the market from what I've researched so far, it seems to be what our market was previously here. We've already acquired one in Moss Point. We've talked about it in the past that we are looking to diversify out of Louisiana a little bit, just because of cost here. I can acquire, you know, two over there versus one here in some cases. At least that's what the research is showing. So next week we're meeting with the agents that we're going to be working with out of Mobile, and you know, we'll see where it really goes. I mean, as long as they're boots on the ground and hitting the ground like we would, I think we'll have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cool, man. That's great. I really appreciate your feedback. Anything that you haven't said that you wanted to say?
See you at the drinks.
Steven definitely likes to drink. He'll definitely be at the drinks. So if you want to bend his ear about the markets he's talking about, if you want to talk about rentals and landlording and stuff, he's a great person to speak to. So let's give him a round of applause. Thanks, Steven.
Thank you.